And we're going to call our February 15th, 2023 commission to order. The invocation is going to be given by Commissioner Bingham, and then the Pledge of Allegiance by the Fire Marshal Kevin Lloyd.
Heavenly Father, as we come before thee at the appointed hour to meet and discuss the issues facing Box Elder County, we're grateful for the opportunity to live here and grateful for the opportunity to have freedom in our lives and the opportunity to be involved and the opportunity to choose. We pray that thy spirit will be in attendance this day, that we might make good decisions that will benefit the people of the county and help us to move forward. We're thankful for all of our blessings, grateful for the moisture that we've received and all that thou hast done for us, and ask for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm sure you've seen the minutes come out from Marla a couple days ago. I'd entertain a motion if you
Make a motion to approve the minutes from February 1st.
I'll second them.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Perry and a second by Commissioner Bingham. All in favor?
Aye.
Administrative review reports, future agenda items. You guys got anything on that? The only thing I was thinking of, I think we can cover in ARPA, so.
Well, we may, on the March 1st, we may do kind of a little bit of let people know where we're at legislative-wise. So we may put that on the agenda.
Yeah, actually Sean Mills said he'd come and give us an update on some of that stuff too. So between the three of us,
It'll give us a better idea of where we're at because we'll be getting close to the end of the session at that point, so.
So do you want an agenda item or legislative update?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's just do where they're at legislatively at this point.
I don't think we're quite to 1,000 bills yet, but they're trying their best.
Yeah, there's some good ones and there's some really bad ones.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Emergency management issues, anything you guys got for this one?
To report on my end of things.
Okay, Kevin? Other sheriff? How's out west? Has it been crazy with all the wind blowing and stuff? We've been able to, I mean, we had a hard time keeping the roads open for a couple weeks out there, but are people still traveling and doing okay out there?
Actually, just got a text message from Eddington who's saying he doesn't think he can make it to work. He says 8-foot drifts around his house, 4 foot in the driveway. He can't get his vehicles out of his driveway, and they canceled the schools out there today. He said 40 to 50 mile per hour winds.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. That's crazy. I couldn't believe some of the drifts and stuff I've seen in some places that usually don't have those type of drifts, so. Darren, if you gotta leave, just let us know when you're, when you're headed out there. ARPA funds, we're still looking at some of that. The only other thing that I think, it was an agenda item a little bit ago when we were talking about the LAPT, whatever. And sending that 1% down to UAC. Have we?
We've done.
we got,
though.
yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure we weren't on the list last week, so.
It's done though.
Last, I think it might be in these registers, I'm not sure.
Okay. I just noticed we weren't on the list, so thank you for doing that. Appreciate that. And then we just got an update on that that says if for some reason we don't get like 80% of the nation to do that, they'll just send us back the funds.
Right, because we paid for this year's and we
And
haven't
next year.
received those funds yet.
Well, and then there's a couple people looking at seeing if the nation can't do that. We're talking about doing it at a state level and housing it under UAC. And I'm not sure everybody knows how much of a public lands county we are. We're 33% federally owned and about 36% state owned. So just over 70% that we don't get taxes off of. Well, we get PILT, which is pennies in lieu of taxes, and then the state gives us what, 12 grand a year or something like that. So anyway, just to let you know about that. So, anything else before we start into the agenda? Okay, I don't see Jennifer Thompson here again, so Jan, has she talked to you?
She called me on the phone and that's when I told her that she needed to get on the agenda for a commission meeting.
When is that event happening?
I don't think she has a certain date yet.
Oh, okay, so maybe we'll punt it to the next.
When she called me on the phone, the fundraiser is for a little girl that's in the hospital and they weren't even sure when she was going to get out of the hospital.
Oh, okay.
So they wanted to do it in coordination with that.
So she hasn't asked you for a date and we really don't know? Okay. Well, we can keep kicking it down the road and putting it on the agenda and just tabling it, so not a big deal. Is Nathan here? So the request for funding the study of economic benefits of the barrier system? I don't see anybody else that I don't know. If he happens to come, we can put him back on. Okay, Mr. McGinnis, do you want to come up here and talk? Let us,
How do you guys?
come on up here and say your name and what you're here for, and then we don't have to talk about you in closed session. Just pull up here to the front one.
Up here front?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then pull the mic so everybody can hear you. And state your name and where you're from.
Sure. My name is Mike McGinnis. I was born and raised in Las Vegas. I went to Utah State for college and been stuck there ever since.
That's good.
Met my wife there and so forth. So I went to law school in Michigan, came back, worked for a private law firm for 4 or 5 years doing criminal defense. Then I got a public defender contract up in Cache County. It was actually down in St. George where we worked for. Then my wife dragged me back up to the cold. So I've been doing public defense work since 2014 there. 2 years ago, they had a managing defender position. I applied and I got the job. So just this last year, we've been negotiating with Box Elder, so it looks like I'm helping Box Elder out, which is a good honor to do that. So I started working here at the beginning of January, trying to see what I could do to help Box Elder with their public defense system. The issues that I'm coming before the commission today is just, I think there's these issues before, and I'm sure you guys are all aware of those issues. We have 4 contract defenders that currently are part of our defense system here. 2 of those defenders in the next few months are probably not going to be here. So we're going to be down 2 public defenders.
So they're not gonna be here, or they don't want to be public defenders?
They don't want to be public defenders.
Okay, that's what I was gonna,
Yeah.
I was just pointing that out, because I'm like, that's not
Yeah.
what I heard. They're not gonna be here. They just don't wanna do it.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to say it. So they are luckily sticking on to help us out while we are in this transition to find some new people. So I've been in the process of doing that. We've had an ad posted on various job forums and trying to get applicants here. I haven't posted the amount in the ad trying to get people just to apply because I think you're aware, throughout the state, there's an attorney shortage and what Box Elder pays compared to other counties is different. That's the best way.
That's because we're only a third the population. so
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I totally understand that, and I get why it is what it is. So going forward, I think the issue we're gonna run into is finding some defenders to do these jobs, and the only way to attract a new defender, the problem that we have, and I had the same problem in Cache last year trying to get public defenders, is there's only so many attorneys that live in Box Elder, there's only so many attorneys in Cache, so eventually you have to entice people to come from out of the county. And in Cache County, we were paying $6,500 a month, unable to get people to apply. Even the local attorneys didn't want to do the job. So in talking to the county there, we were able to bump it up a few $1,000s and able to fill those empty positions. These people and I think you're running the same situation. We have few attorneys that live here. You're going to have to be entice people from other counties who are paying more to do that.
And so this isn't a full-time gig, right? It's just kind of an on-call when they need it, but since we've got a 4-year backup because of COVID, it's kind of on, basically in all,
Are you asking me?
yeah, I'm kind of pointing that way, just kind of waiting for Annie to shut me up.
No, they are full-time positions, like our full-time public defenders in the district court. We have to have 2 because of the workload. We are catching up on COVID. We're not as far behind as we were. There's also, we have the specialty courts, drug court and mental health court, which are generally 2 different attorneys. And then we have justice court that needs to be covered. And then we have 2 different types of juvenile court, one where it's juvenile criminal type, they don't call it that, but, and then the other is juvenile related to parental rights, which would be more the DCF cases that you hear of. So with the 4 that we have right now, based off of what we've learned, we were already down 2. We were already short 2 positions that we couldn't fill because of what we were offering. So for the most part, we would like to entice them so that we have people here to fully cover these courts and make sure we're taken care of.
And keep the people that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the worst thing, is to lose more people.
Are there programs, I know there were at one time, or there were talk about programs that would pay down or help pay off student loans for these folks willing to serve in rural or smaller communities. Are those available at all, or?
So because they're contract positions and they're not actually employees, and I've actually ran into the same issue in Cache County, I'm trying to get some approval from the federal government to sign off on contract employees doing that. But as of right now, no, because they're not an official employee of the county. If they were, that would apply.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a situation that I think it's overdue already. I totally understand the county's position. The last thing, I mean, talking in cash, the same thing. It's much easier to approve funds for a park or, trail and help pay for public defense and representing criminals. And I totally get that. And my daughter always asked me, Dad, how do you represent, and I was doing this really bad case, how do you represent this guy who did this and this and this and this to somebody? And I would get that question all the time. Here's my answer, always. There's this thing called the Sixth Amendment, right? In the bottom of the Sixth Amendment, it says you have a right to counsel. And I think when we just stood up and did the Pledge of Allegiance, I think all of us believe in the Constitution, and that separates us from everybody else, I guess, is we believe people that are charged with crimes they have a right to due process and the best defense that we can give them. So that's my job.
Almost said a Ford, so I seen that coming out of your lip.
So, I mean, these are full-time positions. Depends on what kind of case you get. I mean, if they're constantly, I mean, it ebbs and flows. If they're just getting drug cases, the cases aren't too bad.
Right.
But if you're getting rape cases and all these different cases, it's more than full-time hours. It's probably 60 to 70 hours a week.
Right.
So it all depends on how that goes. And you got to realize that, I mean, right now they're paying around $5,400 average per contract. I mean, that they have their own office, they pay for their own staff, they pay for their own internet. They're paying for all that through those funds.
Okay.
So I just want to see what we can do to entice some people to come here. This is since I've been here, I want to thank everybody, because I was a little worried coming into a new county. Everybody's been really great to work with. So everyone's been really nice and kind, trying to help me do my job. So I really appreciate that. But anything I can do to help do that. My job, as I want to do, is get more grants. Part of the reasons we combined is so we would qualify for additional grants.
Right.
So this coming grant cycle, I'm applying for everything I can apply for. Okay, if we can get more funding to help with mental health court, drug court, whatever.
Okay.
More computers, whatever we can get. So that's my job and what I'm doing to try to do that, and also try to get people to keep doing this job.
Michael, what do you think about, since we're only one of 2 states in the nation that the state doesn't provide this service, do you think we'd be maybe to run some bills next year to actually make that happen? Or would you rather have it in the counties?
I prefer it stay in the counties,
Okay.
because I think local is always better.
Right,
'Cause
but if we could get money from the state,
if we can get money to the state to do it, that's the key.
Okay.
I mean, that'd be my opinion.
maybe we ought to talk about running some bills next year to see about the funding and how we can you know, draw it off from some of the liquor sales or stuff like that, that they're flush with funds. And honest, because I know, being from a smaller county, but close to the Wasatch Front, we have to compete on everything
Yep,
with you guys, with sheriffs, with deputies, with auditors, with,
yep. I'm
You
sure you
know.
guys have heard the sauna dance.
Yeah.
Everybody's on a shortage. You can't find cops. I mean, it's everywhere. And everybody, the inflation, everybody's paying more. It's just happening at everything we do.
well, that kind of brings us into actually our next agenda item with using ARPA funds to fund this. So if we, I mean, we can say that we can do it because, you know, COVID basically backed us up for 2 years. And I don't think we'd have a problem with that, but it would only be a stopgap, you know, for a couple years. So Charlene, how far do you think we could stretch that?
Depends on how you want to spend the remaining money and how much he needs, so.
Okay,
So when we met and talked about this, Malone was there as well, and we asked him that question. And he figured just to get staffed to where we could handle what we needed was gonna cost $120,000. And the other $30,000 was an account where if they needed to hire investigators or special witnesses or things of that nature. And that fund might be used and it might not, but it would be there available, is what we talked about.
Yeah.
The other thing with ARPA is we need it
you
committed
better,
by the end of.
Charlene, you better come up here before Keith starts texting me and saying, what's she saying in the back?
You can't hear anything unless you're on the mic.
Charlene Larson, auditor. The other
you.
thing with ARPA funding is, we have to have it committed by the end of 2024.
And
So it's
spent by
not like it-
2026.
Right, so it's not an ongoing forever ability.
Well, and a question I would ask, I know Weaver County is hiring employees and doing it that way. Is there some way the Cache and Box Elder would be, maybe could do some, I don't know if you've explored that route over there in Cache?
Yes, we are talking that. We're in the process of trying to hire on employees. Just like, I mean, my proposal to Cash was, we want it to look just like the prosecutor's office, just the other side of the aisle. So, you know, investigators, same deal, have a building, county employees, and all things such as that. I mean, that would be, that's the ideal situation.
That's what you're looking at with Cache right now then? Okay, that just good to know.
And here, I mean, that's not a one size fits all with every county. I think even with that situation, you still have to have a certain portion of them that will be contract, just to fill in the little gaps here and there, that there's not enough time, not enough work to hire a full-time person, so you would do as a contract, like in parental defense
Sure,
and things like that.
Okay,
good to know.
so we're looking at about 150,000 from what you said.
That's what we talked about in the meeting we had.
Yeah, I think that would give each contract $7,500. That's less than, that's more than some of the contracts.
Right.
So we have 1.1 million still
Okay.
available.
I would actually like to see us do that for at least 2 years out of the ARPA funds, and then maybe in between then and now, we can work on some of the other things that me and you've been talking about, Charlene, with some of the other things we can transfer. So I don't know what you guys think, but, and then after 2 years, you guys can do what you want. So I'm just kidding.
Well, the one thing that we talked about in the meeting was that it's an immediate need. It
Right.
needs to happen right now. So,
We got the money right now, and I think this is a good place to probably put it, so.
Well, it's clearly related to what happened with COVID, so.
Yep.
We've used our funds and cash funding for the
Okay.
same thing to services.
That makes me feel a little bit better too, so. I'd entertain a motion, since it's the next thing up, about using ARPA funds to do this
okay, I will make a motion that we use $150,000 of the ARPA funds for the public defense in the county
for at least 2 years,
for at least 2
For a
years.
total of,
300,000.
100,000.
Second.
I've got a motion by Commissioner Bingham, a second by Commissioner Perry, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. Nice meeting you all, and hope to see you not too many times.
As long as it's
We
in the
won't
right
we won't take
situation.
offense to
I
that.
hope we will only see you here, so.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Nice meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you. Nathan? Oh, wait, just a second. So, yeah, just a sec.
You want me to do this?
Yes.
I'm fine with whatever.
Yep.
So I have a professional contract for an internal audit for Fire Emergency Management Ambulance Department, in coordination with our office.
Okay.
I put out a direct solicitation to several CPA firms and individuals that have history and background in this, and the only written response I got back was from Kate. Our external auditor had some interest, but it's bad timing for them to help right now, so I propose that we do a contract with Catherine Becker.
Can I ask a question, Shirley?
Sure.
This is just for the county?
Correct?
So is the Central Box Elder County Fire District involved or not?
No.
No.
We can't audit a special service district. They'd have to do that
Self-audit.
on their own.
This is a turnover audit, basically, because we've hired Kevin.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Kinda
have a
help.
new director, and so we thought it was, he actually requested it, and Commissioner Perry, and so I went ahead and, because we're short-staffed in our office, we can't do this right now either. We're hoping to get to the point where we can do this internally within our department, but we're short-staffed right now, so I needed to contract it out.
Yeah, so the reason I asked that question is because our last fire marshal was also helping out in the Central Box Elder County Fire District as a temporary fire marshal at the same time. That's why I was wondering.
Whatever findings or whatever we could share with them
could
as
do.
far as county-related funds, but we'll only be looking at county.
Okay, thanks.
So I make a motion that we approve the contract 2306 for an internal audit for the services of emergency management, fire, and ambulance departments for Box Elder County.
I'll second it.
We got a motion by Commissioner Perry and a second by Commissioner Bingham. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Thank you. Now you can come up. Sorry.
Sorry I was late. You guys moved through your first couple items a lot
Well, a
faster
couple of
than you
them,
do in cash.
couple of them didn't show up. Oh, and don't compare us to Cash. I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing. Love our neighbors.
So, yeah, Nathan Dowgs, I met with you, I don't know if it was last month or December. Must have been December, because you didn't have the new commissioners yet. About getting some funding to help with this study we're gonna do on the benefits of the Bear River system before it reaches the Great Salt Lake. And if you've paid attention to the legislative session this year, I think we're
Way too much attention.
pushing 40 bills that are related to water. And a good number of those are tied to the Great Salt Lake. And there's still at least a few more that will come out in the next couple of weeks. So we think this is a pretty critical study to have so that we can show, the benefits that are being provided economically to all 7 counties, but here, Box Elder and Cache County primarily. The ag benefits, the recreational benefits, everything that water provides before it gets to the Great Salt Lake. Because a number of these bills are looking at targeting Bear River water and how we can take that off the land up here to raise the level of the Great Salt Lake. And we want to work with them on that, but we don't want to be the sole solution.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I think Commissioner Bingham's gonna wanna talk about this a little bit. Do you wanna talk about our little meeting we had that wasn't really a meeting?
I've had so many meetings, you might want to remind me.
About the water, where they came up here and
Oh.
checked the box.
Oh,
It was kind of the same thing. It was an interesting meeting, wasn't it?
it was an interesting meeting.
Who was that with?
So the question I
It
have
was with
is,
the, water rights from the state.
So the
yeah,
state water
here,
engineer.
Yeah, I attended that
State.
meeting.
yeah,
We have ours next Wednesday.
yeah.
Same
So,
meeting.
so one of the questions, what do you hope to accomplish by doing this study?
So the big thing we want to accomplish, if you've noticed, they have a really good one-page summary of the benefits of the Great Salt Lake. Has the brine shrimp industry on there, the mining industry, the economic, the snowpack, the ski industry. It shows all that the benefits of that lake are anywhere between $1.5 and $2.5 billion, depending on which number you read into it. That's the only study out there that shows any benefit of water in the Great Salt Lake Basin. And so we've been trying to come up with the funding to do the same sort of the study on the Bear River system before it reaches the lake. And so that we can say, yeah, we realize there's a big benefit to that lake, but that water supplies a huge benefit upstream before it gets there. And so we're not just gonna take the water off our land up here to meet that benefit. There's a give and take. If we're gonna give up a $500 million industry in Box Elder County, what are you gonna pay for that? And so that's the impetus behind it, is how do we work together on solutions for the water problems? But to do that, you need to have a comparison there to start with. And so that's the biggest part of it, is
So that's
we
quite-
wanna be able to say ag, recreation, industry, we all use that water before it gets there, and here's what we produce with that. Here's how many jobs that creates.
Yeah, and people don't realize that when you have it in a local area, when you spend that money keeps getting spent around in the local economy.
Yeah,
It
and
turns out 14
so
times
the
before
firm,
it
the firm
leaves.
we're contracting with, we're just about to sign that contract. They have a implant, I think is the model they use. And it shows that, right? It shows that if a farmer's producing a gross product, what does that turn into? How many jobs? He's buying feed or fertilizer from the IFAs, the Bear River co-ops, and how many jobs that creates. And so that's what it's gonna look at, is the multiplier effect of that water starts here, but that builds our economy in our counties.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that. You're too busy to go anywhere. You have to deal with people that are close to you because they give you better service too. So,
And so it'll focus on the 3 counties in Utah that the Bear River touches and the 4 in Idaho. Wyoming didn't really jump on board. I mean, it'll still capture some of that, but focusing on those 7 counties.
Okay.
And so the final bid for that came in $180,000, a little higher than we were hoping for that study. But part of that is because we're requiring that be done by the end of the year, so that we have that information for the next legislative session. And so that because one good water year isn't going to make this.
How much did Rocky Mountain Power put in? Did they put in any?
They haven't committed yet. I'm negotiating with them to either commit to $15,000 or commit to putting in all the resources we need to come up with that number, the hydropower number, which is about equivalent to that. That's about what the firm thinks it'll take to do all the research and get those numbers, which
If they don't-
Pacificor could just give us that number.
Yeah, if
So
they don't-
they could help with that.
If they don't work well in the sandbox, call me and I'll start making some calls.
Okay, perfect.
so what company are you working with to do the study?
It's a group of 2. It's Eco Northwest, and they're out of Idaho Falls, and then the other one is EIC, and I won't remember the abbreviation. So those 2 actually submitted a proposal together. One of those did the Bear Lakes, or the Bear Lake
Lake
study that
study.
they just completed, and the other one did the study on the Great Salt Lake. So they have a lot of data from this area already, and a lot of local knowledge of what it is. Neither of them are local. One's out of Washington, the other one's Idaho Falls, so they'll travel a bit to do the study. But we,
And how much you looking? I can't remember for us.
well, we didn't come up with, you just said come back when we knew what we needed, and so
Okay.
we would request if you can do it, to put in $15,000
Okay.
towards that study. The local conservation district over here is putting $7,500 towards the study. And then Bear River Canal Company, and also Bear River Water Conservancy District, so a number of players here.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of our funding is coming from Cache and Box Elder counties. We're getting some from Idaho, but they don't, they're not seeing the repercussions of the drying Great Salt Lake, right? Our legislators can't go past the state line. And so we're getting the brunt of that legislation in our 2 counties, really.
Right.
They think our water is gonna solve the problem, some of them, and it can't, so we've gotta work with them to figure this out.
Well, and I think the economic benefits would be okay if we took it out of RDA funds, Charlene, so I wouldn't have a hard time with $15,000 going towards this to be able to help, and then just make sure that we're all available to be able to have that. Yes,
If you want to use RDA funds, you have to do that in an RDA meeting.
I know.
Okay, just
Yeah.
making sure you know that.
Yeah, so
Don't approve it right now.
we'll have to put that into a RDA for next time,
We can do it from March 1st.
March 1st, so that's what we'll have to do. But just, I think, count on us.
So as a player, then you're gonna keep us updated on what's going on, so we
Yep,
can
yeah, you'll
kinda-
be updated. We'll have periodic updates of where it's at, and there may be some coordinating meetings that we would have you involved in the next 6 months as that gets put together.
Okay.
Yeah, we-
And talk to our planners and stuff. Scott's in the back going on. No, one more thing, Commissioner Summers got me watching. he's ducking, so,
I
okay.
think, yeah, the good thing is these firms, you know, they know where they gotta pull most of that information from. A lot of it's available. It's just pulling that all together and running those.
Well, we just went through a 2-year study with the non-attainment area here, so we know how those things work, so.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
appreciate it.
You want me to come to that March 1st meeting?
You don't really need to, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can
it's up
come
to you
back. I'll be in St. George.
if you
You're
want.
welcome to if you'd like.
Yeah,
I'll be at water
Resource.
or
okay.
rural water in St. George.
We can handle it if you can't be here.
Okay, and I'll send you some information on it so you have some
That'd be great.
numbers here to see. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Scott?
All right, I've just got a 2-lot subdivision. This is located at 1815 North, 2800 West. It's called Silver Bullet Estate subdivision. Each lot is 5 acres in size. And it has been through all the various departments that are required to review it and comes from them with a recommendation of approval.
So, this is a recycling business you're talking about?
No, this one's
This is
totally
just
separate,
separate.
yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a different one than that one.
Yeah,
okay.
that one's kind of in the Tremont and Garland area.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
this one's separate.
Okay, I entertain a motion.
So tell me where that one is, and I had something different in my mind. I
The
thought,
recycling one?
no, this one
one?
we're talking
Just a
about.
subdivision.
Yeah, so this one's along Highway 13, just between Brigham City and Corinne.
Oh,
And so there's I believe it's two different trucking
oh,
businesses.
oh,
that would
right
be
there by
located
the
here.
Pack Hatch Road, just west of there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
2800 West, you've got Smoot Brothers.
Yeah, okay,
And then
all right.
it's just to the south of them.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the subdivision, the Silver Bullet Estate subdivision.
Second it.
I've got a motion by Commissioner Bingham, a second by Commissioner Perry. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Scott.
You sign it now or later?
I can do it now. We're ahead of schedule.
On behalf of Steve, or you want me to get him later?
You can do it if you want. This one? Do you need me to do the date part? Is it the 13th? 15th?
What's that?
What if that's February? That's why you have to say it weird, so you remember.
Elwood kind of kicked him out. That was the net tax revenue for him.
Yeah.
They weren't,
We waited for them.
they weren't working too hard to get it, so.
It's whatever you said, whatever you want. Yeah, you were happy with the size, so.
They showed up.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep, thank you.
Some stuff that dropped off. That I haven't seen back.
Wyatt, you're up, buddy.
So I'm Wyatt Freeze, Box Elder County Weed Department Supervisor, and just short and sweet, Mike Bowen's term on the Box Elder County Weed Board has came to an end. That term is for 4 years. The remaining weed board members have asked me to present you with the recommendation to reappoint Mike Bowen to serve another term.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion, unless you got any questions.
I'll make a motion that we reappoint Mike Bowen to the County Weed Board.
I'll second it.
I got a motion by Commissioner Bingham, a second by Commissioner Perry. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So Wyatt, I just will tell you one thing.
Yes.
I emailed you that one night to talk about the flood district. I don't know where that virus came. I don't know where it came from, but
No, you're good.
I didn't send you any more, only just that one.
Yeah,
so.
you're good. We got her figured out. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wyatt. Weed season's just around the corner.
Yeah, we're gearing up for it.
Jenica.
Okay, so the first item I have is 3 early HSA payments. They're similar to ones we've already done this year. I've had 3 different hourly employees ask for those. Commissioner Summers has reviewed the names. If you'd like to review the names, we would need to go into a closed session to do that.
And they were okay with me, so I just entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to accept these early HSA payment agreements.
I'll second it.
Got a motion by Commissioner Perry, second by Commissioner Bingham. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. So just one question, what makes them an early payment?
Because
It's
they
usually
shouldn't get it
paid in
till
June.
June.
Oh,
Yeah, so if by chance the employee terminates before June
You have
1st,
to pay it back.
they would have to pay it back.
okay.
So, the second item is the PEHP Long-Term Disability Program for the Tier 2 firefighters for the firefighter retirement that we just started. They just need an updated agreement to include that tier as well. So you would just have to authorize me to sign that.
Do we need a motion on it?
Yeah, I need a
I
motion.
make a motion that we give approval to sign the PHP Long-Term Disability Program for Tier Fire, Tier 2.
I'll second it.
I got a motion by Commissioner Bingham, a second by a motion by Commissioner Perry, second by Commissioner Bingham. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're actually gonna table these Gallagher Benefit Services contracts until next time. We have some legal issues we're working out with them.
Okay.
So we'll just, Marla, can you just put those on next time for me? And then policy 10 update is the uniform policy update. It kind of clarifies and allows me the direction to help say yay or nay on these uniforms. Right now, it does read that public safety is the only one that will get the uniform allowance, and everyone else will do it through the P cards. Legal and the auditors have both reviewed that policy.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the policy 10 update.
Second it.
I've got a motion by Commissioner Bingham, second by Commissioner Perry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Cody. Hey, just throw that anywhere.
Cody Elam, building official, facility manager. How's that? That better?
That's good. Thank you.
So I've been asked to have a discussion on some backup generators for the county facilities. I have called a few electricians for some bids. This is just for the 3 here in Brigham City to put generators at the historic courthouse, at the Justice Center, and at the DMV buildings. One of these bids did not include the Justice Center. So and this was a quick call. They really didn't have a lot of chance to go into it. Tyler with Golden Spike, he specializes in generators. That's what he does. And then I also use Chad with ICE, who knows the facilities better than almost any electrician. So I'm anticipating if this is something that we wanted to discuss. That's why I have Shirlene. She's here. I was anticipating at least
start my
half
own,
a million.
I'm gonna start my own company.
Yeah. This facility here has an 800 amp service. The Justice Center has a 6, and then the DMV has a 6. So all of them hold servers. We all work. Everybody needs computers. So with what happened last week with Rocky Mountain Power, the county was out of. We couldn't do our do anything. So.
How long was the power out?
What was that, about an hour and a half?
It was
And then
5 below zero.
Yeah.
We had water pipe spray.
And then a week before that, actually nobody knew, but they were actually out from like about 6 to 7:30. What was that, a week ago? Week before that, I text. Yeah. So we've had multiple outages. So it doesn't happen a lot, but when it does happen. So this is just your information. So if I was going to put this out, if I was gonna ask for a budget, I would easily ask for 5 to 550 to cover these 3 areas. I already have a transfer switch here. I have a transfer switch at the Justice Center. I don't have one at the DMV, so it actually will save us a little bit of money. But I'm here just to provide you that information, and I don't have that type of money in my budget this year. I didn't ask for. I have so much to do. A few, like if a furnace goes down or if things happen, I have enough to do the yearly operation. But something like this, I don't have the
Outside your
operational
grasp,
costs to
yeah.
do this. So
I honestly think we should prioritize them. You know, 1, 2, and 3, whichever ones you guys think's the most important, because I think the courthouse needs to be done. So,
Yeah, I think we need, Keith, I don't know, where are our servers, I guess that's the other concern I have is our county servers, making sure that they're up and operating and they don't go down and we don't have a problem with that. So I don't know which is critical that way.
This building and the jail are where all of our,
So start with the courthouse here first, be most priority, and then we can look at the other two probably.
and I'm not convinced we really need a backup generator at the DMV. I mean, if everybody's out of power in the area,
no, I just took the 3 buildings. Yeah,
Right, no, that's good.
the DMV. Yeah.
is there any way that we can just put a switch at the DMV and we've got generators kicking around that
We
if
do.
for some reason we needed,
The problem with that, I mean,
somebody'd have to be here to take it?
yeah, the problem with, those are type of the items that, I mean, it makes sense. I have a generator that was actually purchased for that use. I mean, Mark has ton of generators. So the problem with that is dirty power, and we have some sensitive equipment. Like, I would not want Keith, any of his servers to run off a generator because it's gonna, what could happen, we don't wanna mess up. He's got servers, 100,000, that would just, it just doesn't make sense. But with those generators they're cleaner.
Supposed to be.
Yeah, so.
So when you say dirty power, you mean it'll overpower the system?
No, it's actually, it's within our parameters. The engineering have for these servers that you have to have, a lot of people don't realize, the Rocky Mountain Power has a parameter that they give service to each home, and they have to be within so much. So a dirty power, if it's too high or too low in volts, it's within that parameter. With the generator, with startups and different things, it's a term for inconsistent power, and those generators can't meet those parameters. So servers just get toasted. Like the more and more sensitive our TVs are going to get, the more those need to be down a little bit. So it just wouldn't be good to run those off of. So. I mean, I think this would be great for a CIP project for next year. We could ask, I don't know if you want to,
Well, like I said,
your Biden bucks this year or whatever, but yeah.
I have a hard time spending $500,000 on 3 generators.
Yeah, we'd be about 2. If I was gonna do here, I'd be 200,000. But then again, I'm gonna have to meet with Brigham City because the last time we approached this, they wanted the transformer that's out in this yard. They
Right.
wanted it moved. They wanted a bunch of other things because it is so old. So, and this is just the bare bones of these numbers. So I'd really want to sit down with them. So.
Well, I think Commissioner Perry says, I think the courthouse is probably the number 1 priority that we need to make sure we get backed up. And as a safety switch, for other things. I mean, because the roads and stuff should be on pretty quick. As soon as the ground thaws, we should be able to get that one done. We've got one at the fairgrounds for overload.
Yeah.
So this one.
Yeah, can you follow, I'd like to have you follow up with Brigham and figure out.
Yeah.
I can get you some hard, fast numbers on this.
What do you think, Commissioner Bingham?
I hate to spend that much money, but,
Well, I would.
is there any other option? You said that the pipes froze in an hour?
Well, that was a mix of the minus. I've been here 10 years, and it just was that cold morning, and it got to a spot that it froze. Usually we wouldn't have to. It was just the cold temperature with the power outage. I mean, and it just compounded everything. So, and then also, I mean, it could be any type of we need that source of electricity just to do the day-to-day function. If something happens, we want to be able to, to function. So,
Mark, do you think there's anything we can do with some grants for critical needs buildings when we're talking about this? I know there was at one time.
Let me just clarify, Mark Bell, Emergency Manager. There is what they call a BRIC grant. It's a mitigation grant that's, and that process will start in May.
Okay.
So they'll open that up, and then there's kind of a time frame for mitigation stuff. So we could certainly wade into that.
Okay.
Wonderful FEMA world.
I think we find whatever we have to do. I mean, if we have to do it on our own, that'd be great. But if all we have to do is come up with matching money, that would be
So we
better in my
work that.
opinion.
Just a little bit of clarification about the generators that we've got in reserve is, I've got the two new generators, heater and air conditioner units. They're 25 kW units, so they're not real big.
Yeah.
We've got another smaller 10 kW unit that operates available down there at the sheriff's office. We do have the four old green military trailers, ones. The problem with those we've discovered is they do, military is okay to run with dirty power.
Yeah. Yep.
So, we're gonna see if we can't get the four of them assessed. I know that two of them were running at one point in time, back when they were out at the road shed.
Yep.
One was on, marginal and one was a parts trailer. So we need to do some assessment on them to see.
How big's the one at the fairgrounds?
That's actually it's ours. That's the buildings and grounds, and it's a big enough to facilitate this building. We could hook it up to it and
It's a
run
50 kVW?
It's 47.
47, 50, that's what I thought.
So, and one thing also to think about, even if today you guys decided you wanted to fund this, I could not get a generator here for at least 8 months. So even if we ordered it today. So I know it's an emergency, we want to get things done, but maybe we sit back and we could start getting the Brigham, get those things, and then have a CIP next year.
And then plus the brick funding, whatever we need to do, because that LEPTC, EIEIO money is going to be around here for a while.
So the one at the fairgrounds, it took us almost a year and a half to get that generator because of what. So now it's there, it will be operational soon, but we could get it operational. We'll just hook a propane tank up to it and it'll run. So
does it have clean power?
it's got very clean power. Yeah, these are really nice generators that are clean, and they'll be able to provide that.
But I
Especially
mean, the one you have, you said is.
the one I have now, mine's brand new. Yeah, so it's still. I would still be hesitant of doing wiring. Like you're basically doing just an extension cord, and anytime you do something like that with a generator with the ups and downs, it's his sensitive equipment. Is we need a hard, fast one.
He's sensitive.
Yeah, he's very sensitive.
So IT has been throwing this idea around for a while. Oh, Keith Keller, IT director. This building isn't exactly conducive for storing, our most important servers, just because of earthquake and stuff. It's probably our least stable building, maybe. Anyway, we've thought about, and if it becomes like cost restrictive, with Brigham City and whatever you got to do, or the sine wave generator is too expensive, we have thought about relocating a bunch of the services in this building somewhere else. I mean, as long as we've got internet connectivity, we don't have to have $300,000 worth of stuff upstairs. It could be somewhere else. So we've thought about moving that.
How much space do you need to have to put those servers in?
Oh, we could put it at the Justice Center. We could put it at the jail. We could. Stuff gets smaller all the time. We could even move it to the basement of the DMV. So there is that we could relocate a large.
But wherever we relocate it to, we still need to have something there hooked in.
Right.
To keep those servers up and running.
We'd avoid having to dig up our back parking lot and some of the stuff that Brigham City wants us to do.
Yeah, right now the main source of power is actually on the old coal chute, so it's got 30 feet in the air down below that, and then it's the main servers or the main serve line that comes in is right on top of it. So we're everything on that pad over there is the coal chute. So if that fell through, it's like 28 feet down to the bottom, and then the boiler's on that other side. So that's where everything feeds. So if something happens, it's just not the best scenario. And we've talked about, that's a big hole in the ground.
Well, we're going to talk about this the 1st of March and stuff. I mean, it's been on our minds for a long time, and I think we would have probably pulled the trigger if it wasn't for the inflation and things that are happening. I mean, this is a 100-plus-year-old building, and
See And that's something I kind of wanted to hit a little bit. You know, Commissioner Bingham talked about spending that much money. If there is an emergency in this building, this is the last place I'd want anybody to be, because this facility is why I love this building. It's just, you know, if something happened, the functionality of it is just not the best. So those other buildings, I think the DMV would work great to house all that stuff, and it would be, you know, we'd be able to run everything out of it, so server-wise.
Okay. I'd still look at the grants, and I'd still look, but I still think that if we can put that generator to use, even if it's not here, you know, I don't know how we can
Yeah.
do it between the two, but
It seems like the generator would be cheaper if we did it, if we moved the servers over
Right.
there. So maybe that's what we need to do, is
can run
maybe
some
between the two
numbers.
of you, you can come up with numbers and give us numbers on what it would be here, knowing that this may not be the best solution versus what it would be if we moved the servers over there.
Especially his server's on the third floor. You know,
Exactly.
so, I mean,
Yeah.
And a thought too, just is prioritizing a circuit all there, if you just needed the minimal power, just, you know, those service.
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
And have a switch, we could grab a generator and have it up there until such time. You know,
oh yeah,
we could have.
we'd still would have to do a transfer switch, and we'd have to do these. Yeah,
But
I
if
mean,
we
it's
did-
an option, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't want to spend money on something like that when 6 months later we're just gonna be ripping it out anyways.
Right.
So I'll look at all the scenarios.
and will you let us know what it's gonna cost to move the stuff, and then maybe, like you said, have a switch like he's talking about, and, you know, then it probably would be more important for us to have that. As long as the jail's functioning, and honestly, the justice court, after that, if we have to bug out to someplace, and like you said, this is probably the best place to bug out. We have our comms down at the jail, so the EOC's down there, and their generator ran. We made sure that was happening, huh, Sheriff? So,
Yeah, and the fairgrounds, we have that generator there. If something happens, we could run out of the fairgrounds. So we have
Yep.
buildings that we can do what needs to be done. So
okay,
We'll pursue that grant, just understand that is a competitive grant.
Okay.
I know that Darren was looking at potential putting that, and then once those requests goes into the state, there's only so much, so it's, you know, there's no guarantee on that money.
right. Well, like I said, I think we put the money aside and then see what else we can do if we do get that. Okay, thanks, you
So,
guys.
just one question for Keith. So the folks that work here in the county, does everything that they have, is it saved to a cloud or to a server or something of that nature?
Regarding our.
Like the
all of our
auditor's
stuff.
office and
Oh,
the
yeah.
recorders and all these people that are working in the building?
So we have it backed up in multiple locations, so if we lose this building, we can restore and bring it up in various other locations.
So worst case scenario, you go to a computer in a different building and still go to work type thing?
Yeah, but we'd be money ahead, honestly, if we just got all these servers out of this building.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering about how it
Yeah,
all
no, we're
works.
covered, we can run from South Carolina if we have to.
Oh, cool. Sounds like a great place right now, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, you guys. Warrant register. And I didn't think we had a closed session, but maybe we do. I just saw the mayor of the capital city come in, so. Glad you brought Batman with you. Oh, that other
Yeah, that's
sticky
the other
was
one.
kind of hidden.
Yeah, I missed that one.
I'm still trying to say 2022 on everything. What a surprise. I can't even get your guys' names straight. Do these guys know what we're talking about? Our attorneys?
I talked to Steve a little bit the other day.
Is it appropriate, closed session? Okay, that was my. Well, you know,
I am kind of.
Annie is kind of,
I will shut it down.
shut me down. I'd entertain a motion to go into closed session to talk about real estate.
I move we go into closed session.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bingham, second by Commissioner Perry. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there you go.
I'm gonna give her a hatchet for Christmas. Maybe I should move the gavel over to you.